Hey, my friends, it's so good to see you today. Buenas tardes, señor. Today we're going to be doing a walk, about 45 minutes, an hour, at the Basilica de Guadalupe. This is the location where they say that Mother Mary, or Tonantizin, appeared to Juan Diego in 1531. That church there is actually the newest one, built in the 70s. It's believed that the tilma, which is kind of like a poncho with the image of Mother Mary, can answer prayers, that she truly cares about the people here in Mexico City, and that it's one of the most miraculous miracles in the entire Catholic history. You can see the people praying. People come here to pray when they're sick and they need healing. When they've been healed, it's a place to talk to God or to talk to the Mother of God. Because of the pandemic, they can only let so many people in, so they do about 15 to 20 masses a day. When I'm here, I think about how in 1531 the world to a Mexica was destroyed. And it wasn't until this motherly figure appeared that anything that we could call a secure or happy Mexico existed. From a secular point of view, maybe we would say we don't believe in these miracles. But even if there wasn't a miracle, the miracle was that everyone from the conquered to the conqueror became part of one culture around this image of Mother Mary. These churches here were built back in the 1670s, I think. After the Spanish had conquered Mexico, the Mexica had to come to a place where their gods were dead. The empire was gone, and the pain must have been enormous. Juan Diego himself was originally, his real name was Tonantizin. Forgive me for messing that up. Mother Mary spoke to him in actually Nahuatl, his indigenous tongue. And here we see symbols where both the Spanish and the Mexica, their concepts of time are on opposite sides of the same structure. When Juan Diego walked through here, he had gone from being possibly some type of priest in the Aztec religion to being a peasant. And the way the Spanish were treating the indigenous population, it was as if they weren't even human. When someone is colonized, when there is an invasion and you lose your power, it's easy to start thinking of yourself as nothing. And Juan Diego was now seeing himself that way. And it was one of the most beautiful stories or miracles in history that a woman appeared on the same hill where the Mexica would worship the earth goddess. Many of the Spanish believed that because the Mexica believed themselves to be people of the snake, that the snake had birthed them, that they actually weren't even human. And it was only through the story of Juan Diego and the acceptance by the priest that moments in art like this, where a Spanish ruler who's part of the ruling class is now bowing down to Juan Diego. This is I believe, the first church. It's the area where Juan Diego lived. And it's I believe, the last place that Mother Mary helped him arrange the roses that would become the tilma. Its official name is the Old Indian Church, or the Antique Indian Church. And while in our modern society today, the emphasis on an Indian church might seem improper, at that time, it was the signal that all of us were equal, that we could all be part of our mother's embrace. The tilma itself, I believe, was here for over 100 years. Today it shows a beautiful photo of St. Diego with the tilma on him. St. Francis of Assisi. It was the Franciscans who really helped Mexico with the theory of Brother Moon, right, Sister Ocean, that all people have God, have good within them. And many of them fought very hard for the indigenous population to be equal, even though the conquering had occurred. If I'm not mistaken, this is where Juan Diego both lived and where he and Mother Mary spoke at that very spot. Before the pandemic, I remember coming in here and seeing whole groups of people praying on their knees, looking at this. To me, this church is the true, beautiful church. It feels special, loving. For many of the Mexica, they had a lot of trouble understanding what the Spanish were really talking about. Not just the language, but they spoke of a savior who loved them. But the Spanish murdered them and treated them like they weren't human. It was the moment that Mother Mary decided to appear to one of the indigenous and insist that she loved him. She told him that he was her little special one, her dear one. Not only did it give a sense of pride to the indigenous population, but it humbled the Spanish. It humbles all of us. Juan Diego spent his life here, and he would spend his time cleaning the church. He was known for his humility and a type of softness and flexibility and charisma that was a little loving and kind. They say that because of the event that occurred here, 9 million people converted to Catholicism. Again, it's not the conversion to Catholicism that impresses me. It is how, let's say the whole thing is planned. The emphasis on acceptance. The tilma with the Mother Mary, the image of Mother Mary, includes symbols that connect the mother goddess of Tonantizin with the new era. The Spanish had come in here, and although the Mexica were incredible warriors in an incredible society, they didn't have the guns, and massive diseases wiped out the population. And Mother Mary, according to the myth, comes and says, "You are dear to me," and realigns the entire society based on this type of motherly love for everyone. This is a statue that some people in California would find controversial, where I'm from. He founded the mission of San Juan Capistrano, but many people feel that he abused the native populations, and I think some statues have actually been taken down of him in the United States. Each church here, I think, signifies a place where Mother Mary spoke with Juan Diego or his uncle, San Bernardino. For those of us from California, we'll recognize the names of most of our cities, have something connected with this story: San Diego, San Bernardino. But you really can't emphasize enough how what it means to be Mexican is to be loved by Mother Mary. Or Tonantizin. Many of the indigenous population will still call her Tonantizin, after the Aztec goddess.
Seamos responsables. Para evitar más contagios de COVID-19 es obligatorio el uso de cubrebocas. Esta herramienta actúa como una barrera para protegernos a nosotros y proteger a los demás. De igual manera, le hacemos una cordial invitación a todos nuestros peregrinos para que en todo momento tengan colocado de manera correcta sin cubrebocas. Gracias.
This spring water, for many, is believed to be miraculously formed when Diego spoke with Mother Mary here. In some ways reminded me of the myth in the Islamic religion of Zamzam, having a miraculous water just sprout upward. You can see the ofrenda, is what they call it, and it shows the Native Americans all coming and bowing down to their mother. When I first saw it, I saw it as kind of Spanish propaganda. But now I see that Mother Mary is like them, and that this was their moment of having their mother return to them at the mountain where they used to worship Tonantizin. When Juan Diego first was here, he was walking to his, I believe they're called catechism classes, learning how to be a good Catholic. And he heard the sound. It was, I guess, of like birds, but he said it was so beautiful and so strange because it was almost like the mountain in its silence was responding to the birds. And he came up to see what it was, or Mother Mary said, Juanito, my little dear Juan, come here. But I don't think she said my little dear Juan. I think she used his indigenous name because she was speaking Nahuatl. So he went back up to the top of the mountain to try to hear or to see what was going on. When I first saw this, I was so surprised, because this is the very symbols of the Mexica. Again, I just believe that the whole message of Mother Mary is one of a type of softness, acceptance. The Spanish had told them, and let's be honest, there was maybe even some real guilt in the Mexica society. It was confusing, but they were a society that did human sacrifices. And they were a society that had colonized the area around them, had attacked the people around them. In fact, Cortez could have never defeated the Mexica by himself. So we know that it was a time of questioning. I mean, imagine how you would feel if alien people showed up on Earth and took everything from us. They were superior to us in war. And imagine if we had been sacrificing humans because the Son needed us to do it. And then we find out that, no, the Son did not need us to do it. And then our new rulers treated us as if we were as stupid as we felt, as weak as we felt. I think that's the starting place of understanding how beautiful the message of Mother Mary is. Even for our personal lives, there's things we feel guilty about, and she says, it's okay. Just keep following me. You're special. You're loved. And so when I climb these stairs, I think about where Juan Diego's mental mind was as he's walking up to hear what's up here. This is the church where he first met his mother, our mother. It's here where she says to him, listen, my son, what I'm saying to you right now. Don't let anything worry or distress you. Not fear illness or anything annoying, no annoying event or pain. Am I not here, I whom am your mother? Are you not under my shadow and protection? Am I not your life and your health? Are you not in my embrace and in my prayers? What else do you need? Imagine being Juan Diego and hearing that. Imagine being a Mexican and hearing that. The Mexica had prophecies that are incredibly strange, that they all came true. On one side, it was believed that, I believe the god's name, beautiful, man of God or God, Quetzalcoatl, he was going to come back. And he was going to come back at exactly the year one read, which is exactly 1519. The Mexica could have destroyed Cortez. But their prophecies said a new age would begin. So when we fast forward to 1531, and we can talk honestly about the abuses of the Spanish, the abuses of the Mexica, everything fit perfectly. And so, whether it's a miracle and Juan Diego truly spoke with Mother Mary, or if it is the greatest art piece in the history of mankind, the entire society stepped into its new era, from Tonantizin to the Virgin of Guadalupe, from the Mexica to Nueva España to Mexico. So whichever the story really is, it makes me stop and be humbled. And it reminds us to be loving to one another. There was a time where Juan Diego goes back to Mother Mary here at the hill, right here. And he says, the bishop doesn't believe me. You should send someone else. And she says, no, it's you. It's you I need. It's just powerful. That guy's job is difficult. And so when we come down the hill, for me, I think about it's a new age. In our modern day, with our political anger, we want to blame and to accuse. But there's a moment where, in the original document that talks about what happened between Mother Mary and Juan Diego, he says, the bishop doesn't believe me, and she doesn't respond with any anger at all. She says, that's fine. And she just sends him to talk to the bishop again. There's such peace in her words. Imagine how you would act if you absolutely understood completely that everything is under God's control, that the mother will make sure everything is okay, that everything that happens is supposed to happen. I don't know if there's any religious or historical significance to this area, but they've built a beautiful monument to the words of Jesus Christ, Yeshua. I believe it's the Beatitudes, and so we'll take a moment to just walk through here. What amazes me is that the words of Jesus and the words of Mother Mary are so contradictory to much of the Spanish invasion and often to the things that we ourselves treat as important. imagine being one of the Mexica, and then later on the Mayans and other nations, and reading the words of Jesus there, that everything you have been through, everything that you're feeling, Jesus calls that blessed, because you're going to be okay. In fact, even the people who came to Mexico, even the ones who did awful things from Spain, imagine being one of them, alone in this country, and reading that those who are suffering will be consoled, that those who are pure in heart will be the kings of heaven. And that's for the Mexica. Imagine that. As the whole world changed, these new moral guideposts came to their lives. It wasn't who you sacrificed. It wasn't a pressure to sacrifice more people to keep the sun going around the world. It was the pure of heart. Those who can take insults without becoming distraught. It's those who can turn the other cheek. They are the ones that God says are the most precious to Him. That's an amazing message. And this compound is built to that, this basilica. Maybe not to every religious person. Sometimes I listen to some Catholic priests talk about this and they seem pretty rude, honestly. But I believe God's heart is with those who are suffering. And Mary is with those who are suffering. She came here as Tonantizin, as Mother Mary, or as an incredible piece of art that changed the world and said, "You who are suffering are the most precious to me." And that was the Mexica. And then she said to the Spanish priests, "I know you're so alone and you think you're doing the right things. Your suffering is so close to me too." And from this understanding, this flexibility, one of the most beautiful countries in the world was made. It's amazing to think that one tilma, one poncho, could build all this. Inside that church is what people would say one of the most holy symbols in the world. Thank you very much for your time today and for walking with me. I hope I've done the whole issue justice.